Namaskar, all my sisters and brothers who are assembled here to spend their precious moments in spiritual interaction, in spiritual get-together. I must confess that I am supremely blessed that I attain a real Guru, a Sadguru, and he was a Guru who used to say, I am your man-making master. He has spent all his life explaining, teaching, and inspiring us to follow the path of genuine, real, bona fide spirituality. He was not a commentator, he was an original teacher, and his every teaching contains some novelty, some originality, which is not otherwise possible by human beings. And in this respect, when we look at the Astangic Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga, there may be persons who will say that this was given by Patanjali almost about 2500 years ago. So what is there something new that we should say that Anandamurti ji has gifted something glorious in this 8 limbs of yoga. So there are 2 things in this respect I have to say. First is that unless something gets the support of the spiritual energy, spiritual power, and in philosophical language, supreme consciousness, it cannot become a reality. It cannot become a part of our real experience. And humans try their best to evolve newer and newer things, and they also get success to great or some extent, but the real success is when the achievement has a durable utility. So in this perspective, we find that although because of his own spiritual conviction, commitment, and intense practice, as well as because of his inquisitive, inquiring mind, Patanjali was able to give the 8 limbs of yoga, and he defined yoga as something which can unite us, which can unify us with the Supreme Entity, with the fundamental cause of the universe. This he, partly with experience and partly with his intellectual exploration, he was able to arrive at this conclusion that real spirituality lies in yoga, the union with the Supreme. And people followed it, they are still following, and they give all the credit to Patanjali, and we must give it to him. There is nothing wrong in it. But what I want to say, that in spite of a teaching, a lesson which was given 2,500 years ago, we do not find that the world is full of yogis it is full of the people who have transformed their life spiritually with the help of yoga. So the one reason, there may be many reasons, but one basic reason is that when the humans give something and that is worthwhile, then for its durable utility, for its utilization of somewhat permanent nature, the cosmic support is essential, and this is fulfilled by the blessings of Sri Anand Murti Ji, that he has, that's why immortalized the contribution of Patanjali by taking those 8 limbs, propagating it and embellishing it, invigorating it, making it full of energy, enthusiasm, brilliance and glamour by his own charm, by his own divinity. And so I believe, I am convinced that the future society will be full of yogis, of such persons for whom the realization of the Supreme will be the summum bonum of life. And today, what we see, so much cutthroat competition to attain material advancement, will be of no significance in the future age, which will be dominated by yogis. Sri Krishna also said that yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya, that Arjuna, you fight as a yogi, then these weaknesses of mind, the baser tendencies of mind, which reduce your willpower, which causes undue attachment with the world, with your kith and kin, will not disturb the mental equanimity, mental tranquility of your existence, of your entity. But these teachings could not get firm roots, and that's why they have been taught in lectures, in school and colleges books, but life is yet not guided by these teachings, these jewels of spiritual treasure. So when Anand Murti Ji has accepted these 8 limbs of yoga, he has immortalized this knowledge, this teaching, and adding many things new in every limb of yoga. He has also taught us that whatever was left undone by his predecessors, whatever remained imperfect in the knowledge of a particular limb, has been removed because of his teachings. So now let us come today on Pratyahara. We have discussed yoga, yama, niyama, asana and pranayama. And now we are here to discuss today's Pratyahara, which is the 5th limba of yoga. Pratyahara directly connects itself with, we can say, the first subtle causal mind, that is Ati Manas Kosha, supra-mental sphere of our mental chamber, psychic chamber. And this psychic chamber, Ati Manas Kosha, is the, I can say, the repository, it is a storehouse, warehouse of our past karmas. So that's why when we practice Pratyahara, then this Pratyahara helps in bringing maturity to our past karmas, and these past karmas slowly get exhausted by expressing themselves in the form of the physical or psychic fruits. So, this what is actually, I have said that this Atimanas Kosh affects our Manomaya Kosh, and Manomaya Kosh experiences the result of our past actions. So, I think many persons have such an experience that before they suffer from some disease, there is a feeling in the mind that I will become sick, I will catch cold, or I will have fever, or I will contract some disease. This feeling, is stirring the mind, and then after a few days he finds or she finds that he or she became the prisoner of that disease. So this Atimanas Kosha, which is the starting point of the domain of the causal mind, is perfected, it is made strong, it is made fully blossomed with the help of Pratyahara Yoga, Pratyahara Sadhana. Pratyahara. Ahar means to take something within, to assimilate. And Pratyahara means to take something back after giving it out. Just like I have abused somebody, I have called him names, that person gets angry, and then I withdraw it, saying, I am sorry. Now this withdrawal is Pratyahara. I have abused, I have given something, and then I withdraw it, that I am withdrawing my statement. So, this Pratyahara is important in this respect, that our mind is always influenced by the effects of inferences, the tanmatras, which are 5 in number: sound, touch, luminous factor means heat or form, then taste, and finally a smell. Sabd, asparsh, roop, ras, and gandh. These 5 tanmatras keep our mind unstable. They keep our mind always restless. And that's why when we sit and try to meditate and bring our mind in contact with cosmic consciousness, any of the tanmatras or a combination of the tanmatras try to disturb the meditation. So that's why the control on these tanmatras is very important. How this control can be achieved, this is very important to know. So let us try to understand here the differences among different forms of existence, different forms of animation, animated creation. We find differences everywhere. No two things are identical. They may be similar, not identical. Like horse, deer, ox, fox, all these are called animals, but they are not identical. And human beings, animals, birds, plants, they are all living beings, but they have some basic features, basic qualities which are common in all these forms of existence, and they also have some special qualities. Like basic qualities, about that Shiva said, Ahar, Nidra, Bhai, Maithunancha, Samanya Metad, Pashubhi Nararam. That all the existence, living existence and human beings have four common instincts, four common propensities of hunger, of sleep, of fear, and of procreation. These four propensities are basic to all the forms of living existence. Besides that, they have some special qualities. For example, dog has a special quality that it is loyal to its master. It never deceives the master. It always protects him. It is such a brilliant quality that the dog of any breed will always remain loyal to its master. So, similarly, we find different forms of life having some special qualities also. But these four are basic qualities. Ahar, food, Nidra, sleep, Bhai, fear, and Maithun, procreation. These four are basic qualities. They are common to all forms of living beings. So now human mind is affected by these four qualities, and since they are basic qualities, that's why nobody can get rid of it. So for the family people, they have to exercise control on all these four qualities, on all these propensities, and sannyasis, they have to eschew the last one, that is procreation. They have to only work on these three qualities of hunger, sleep, and fear. Now these are basic qualities. That's why if somebody wants to sleep, he can sleep for 24 hours. And even then he may say that if there will be 25 or 26 hours, I could have enjoyed sleeping more. So as much as one want to increase it, extend it, he can extend, because this is basic quality. Similarly, food, people, they have to go on eating till they find that now they will vomit it or they will become sick. They can go on continuing eating. Similarly, fear, the fear is more in mind and less in external object. If mind is fearless, then external object cannot be the cause of fear. We may protect ourselves from the dreaded or wild animals, but we will not fear them. We will certainly protect and take precaution. But a balanced, a real human life is not go on eating, go on sleeping, or go on having fear. It must be controlled, it must be kept in order so that it does not become a burden. But then how it can be kept under control? It is not to be suppressed, it has not to be forced to submission, but it has to be channeled, it has to be canalized. For an example, a river is flowing, and if there is embankment across the river, if one tries to put obstruction so that the river does not flow, it stops there. So when that embankment is there, the water will start accumulating in one side. The other side will remain without flow, and one side water will start accumulating. And when it becomes stronger, it gets a stronger momentum, then it breaks that bank and paves its path of forward movement. So similarly, when the propensities of mind, they are suppressed, they are repressed, then they go on accumulating. And as time comes when that accumulated propensities become so violent, they become so aggressive in nature that they become the cause of great downfall of even elevated souls. Therefore, Ananda Marg Yoga, taught by Sri Anmukti Ji, gives us light that we must not try to suppress our propensities. We should channel them in Brahmi direction, in the direction of spiritual ideation. For an example, in the second lesson of Ananda Marg Yoga, which is called Guru Mantra or Science of Brahmacharya, it has been taught that whenever we come in contact with any physical object, we must ascribe Brahmahood, spiritual ideation on that particular object, so that its crude influence does not occupy our mind. So here there is a spiritualization of the external objectivity, and we are coming in contact with the object, but we are not being influenced by its crude, by its material effect. It does not influence us. It touches us, but it does not influence us. And you know that when I am passing through a market or a locality and I see somebody or I see some object, then there are two things in this visualization. I may see with a noble tendency, a good tendency, a good motive. And secondly, the object may be bad. It may not be a good object. And so it will have negative effect on my mind. So the object may be bad, or my intention may also be bad. And object may be good, but my intention may be bad. Or object may be bad, my intention may be good. So when these two meet together, and when it is the case of bad object meeting the bad psychic flow, but bad tendency, bad motive, then it is a very horrible situation. Mind will fall to a very unredeemable status. So therefore it is important that we have to exercise restraint in a way that our tendency does not lead to degeneration, our subjective degeneration. And for that purpose, this science of Brahmacharya, this spiritualization of the material wave and psychic wave is important. But the difference between the science of Brahmacharya and this Guru Mantra A Guru Mantra is ascribing spirituality, ascribing Brahmahood, the ideation of Brahma on material objects or psychic objects. So it definitely channelizes our mind in the spiritual direction, and so our bad motive or bad intention, they are removed. But this is not, this is the half part of the action. We have removed the bad tendency. The mind is moving a good flow because it is now a spiritual flow. It is looking at the object with spiritual ideation. But that physical object exists, and its existence somehow or other may also penetrate into our sight and occupy the inner portion of our mind. Therefore, in Pratyahara, this is withdrawal, that this withdrawal of the tanmatras, of these inferences of sound, touch, form, taste and smell, these 5 tanmatras, this withdrawal, then it is the finality of the action. Then that particular object can never remain a cause of source of bondage for me. So how it is done? It is done with the help of, in Anand Marg Yoga, it is done with the help of Guru Puja, the veneration, the adoration of the Guru, worship of the Guru. So this Guru Puja, in this we take the ideation of the color which is disturbing our mental balance. And not only color, it is, you can say, emanate from the form. So this form is one of the propensities, one of the inferences. But there are other inferences like sound, like touch, like taste, like smell. There are 5. So, how does disturbance come? I am trying to meditate mind, and any form I had gone and seen beauties of Nainital, Darjeeling, Kashmir, and that sight always keeps in my mind. So my mind is occupied with the form inference. Roop Tanmatra. So that roop, with that color, we offer to the Supreme Master. We have got it to, our eyes has seen it, and it has become captivated by the beauty of that scene, and so it is now always appearing in my mind when I am trying to meditate. That's why when I offer it, then I try to get rid of the effect, the influence of that beauty. Similarly, if I have got a good taste of some good preparation, some delicious preparation, and that occurs to our mind. So, for that, say, it is better that the lotus, lotus which we offer at the feet of our revered Guru, that lotus is actually plexus. These plexus, which are the energy center, which are the confluence, meeting points of Ida, Pingla, Sushumna, these plexus, is lotus. It is in the form of a lotus. It is when one reaches higher and higher in sadhana, then this visualization is possible. And this visualization ultimately is of the supreme divine effulgence. But in between, we visualize different plexuses with different petals. These petals are the glands which secrete hormones, and these hormones flow through the nerves, and these nerves, the flow of the hormones through the nerves affect our mental properties, mental characteristic. So that's why when we withdraw our mind from the external world and offer it at the lotus feet of the Supreme Master, the Supreme Consciousness, the Param Purusha, then mind gets slowly rid of that particular form, particular sound, particular touch, particular taste, and particular smell, whichever may be the inferences. So this Pratyahara is very important in this respect, that it helps us to free mind from the effect of the excruciating effect of the 5 tanmatras. And this, when we are in the world, naturally the worldly vibrations come to us in different forms, and we always feel ourselves great difficulty in stopping their influence. So this practice of Pratyahara makes our mind free from the material power and invigorates it with the spiritual power. So therefore, this this basic instinct and the special instinct in human beings, it is called 1000. So now to get rid of the influence of the 1000 vrittis, 1000, you can say, influence of the inferences is of course a very Herculean task, but this Pratyahara makes it possible. And for this purpose, the greatest help come to us with the help of Guru Puja, Guru Vandana. And this Guru Puja actually, I think, is one of the most important lesson that where everything becomes ineffective. Guru Puja can single-handed make wonders. It can work wonders. It has so much power. Here there is the feeling of surrender. There is an action of surrender. And when we surrender everything to the Supreme, then mind becomes all powerful, because it loses its individual existence and it grasps the omnipotent power of the Supreme. Therefore, without this practice of surrender, it is not possible to get rid of the effect of the influence of the propensities. And these propensities are so strong that they excite our glands, and the glands secrete hormones, and these hormones moves in our veins, in our sinus, in our nervous system. So they are so much interconnected that unless a system of ideation which is superior to the physical flow is brought into action, these indriyas can never come under control. So this practice of Pratyahara Yoga, in which all the inferences are diverted, they are channeled towards the Supreme. This makes the entire action of ours full of spiritual fervor, spiritual aura, spiritual effulgence, spiritual fragrance. And in this effort, we find that the obstacles which we feel in our forward movement, in concentrating the mind, gradually evaporates, it gradually disappears. Therefore, this Ati Manas Kosha, which is the beginning of the causal mind, it gradually, when it is free from the influences of the Tanmatras, it gradually becomes full of its cells, its particles, they become spiritualized, they become of spiritual content, means it becomes consciousness. From ectoplasm, it moves to the consciousness, and naturally the consequences that our spiritual life gets great impetus, it gets great energy in the course of this spiritualization, this transmutation of our psychic energy into spiritual energy. So this translation or transmutation of the physical object into the psychic ideation is not possible without the help of Pratyahara Yoga. We can see the example of Mira, when she was told that the particular liquid which was offered to her is not an ordinary liquid, it is the Charnamrit of Sri Krishna. It is consecrated with the touch of Sri Krishna's lotus feet, the divine feet. She became so overwhelmed, she became so spiritually full of divine thoughts in her mind that, well, oh, I have got the water consecrated by the touch of my Lord's, my beloved's lotus feet. That physical object, that venom, the deadly venom, become a nectar. It could do no harm to Mira. This is an example, a recent example. So there are similar cases where a evolved personality has faced great physical turmoil, but it could not affect them. There are many such examples. I do not want to dwell on those examples, but if we try to understand the science behind it, the science is that those tanmatras which are making a particular object effective, those tanmatras become ineffective because of the higher dose of consciousness. Consciousness overwhelms them, and so they merge their existence in the flow, in the divine flow, nectarian flow of the supreme bliss. So this Pratyahara Yoga is actually, it is something which adds a positive feeling, a positive attitude in our mind, and it makes mind free from all the negative feelings, negative sentiments. Since the negativities come from these tanmatras, and these tanmatras also has the features of Shatogun, Rajogun and Tamoguna. This from the higher chakras, from the higher levels of our consciousness, our mental elevation, we find that mind comes in the contact with this world with the help of sound. So sound is a very subtle existence, and then comes to touch. The ethereal factor is the residence of sound, and aerial factor, it is the treasure of sound as well as of touch. So it is slightly cruder, but still it is very subtle. So these two tanmatras, sound and touch, they are sentient in nature. They are not as crude as the later forms of existence, so they are sentient in nature. And form or fire, when fire is not only, it generates heat, but it also gives a flow, and it gives illumination and flame, so it gets a form also. So this form is mutative, Rajogun, and this taste and smell, these two qualities, these two experiences, they are from Tamoguna of a static nature, and so we find that taste means tongue. We use to experience taste with the help of tongue, and smell with the help of nose. So tongue and nose, these make our mind very, very crude. Tongue, nose, a drunkard, just by the smell of the wine, it gets mad to drink it, just by the smell. Similarly, those who are spiritually intoxicated, for them, even if there is no such physical object, they feel the smell of, the fragrance of some unknown, unseen flowers, a very intoxicating smell. So smell is still of a static nature, and tongue also, the taste. So the mind, is very much influenced by the desire to eat something, taste something, or to get the smell of something. So therefore, the Pratyahara, it takes our mind from the tanmatras of touch and smell, the tanmatras of taste and smell, to the tanmatra of form, and then to touch, and then finally to sound. So gradually there is a transmutation from the cruder forms of object to the subtler form. So it is a very subtle science. Pratyahara, it appears very simple. It is thinking that, we have to just take the ideation of Brahma, or we have to withdraw our mind, and Pratyahara is done. So it is not that simplistic, I can say. We have to make our mind subtle, to go deeper into the recesses of our consciousness and see whether there is any residual impact of these tanmatras or not. And when we get hold of those tanmatras which are affecting our mind, then we can finally surrender it to the Guru. So in this surrendering process, we have to take the ideation of the object with its particular tanmatra. If the touch is influencing, then this the touch of the flower or of the bed or of anything which is very much attractive for our mind. So with its full form, we have to offer this touch tanmatra in the effort of surrender. So all the tanmatras are to be offered with their entire peculiarity, entire quality, what we experience in their effect on our mind. And then slowly and slowly we'll feel that there is a big transformation. Our motive has changed, our tendency has changed, and even the object which appears a material object, a psychic object, it also becomes a divine object. It is not only that I have channeled my mind to the spiritual side, to the spiritual ideation, but also that that physical object or the psychic object also becomes divinely changed. It also becomes a source of divine experience, divine feeling. And therefore, I think the practice of Pratyahara will bring great vigor, great energy to our mind. So one more thing here I would like to emphasize, that the degeneration of mind is mostly because of its object. The object, is the mental food, and if the object of mind is something crude, naturally because of the regular association with that crude object, mind also becomes gradually crude and crude. And therefore the object, the object is also affecting mind with the help of these tanmatras. And therefore, when a person tries to withdraw mind from the external world as well as from the internal world, why it is that he finds helpless in withdrawing mind and concentrating at the point where the Acharya has taught a spiritual aspiring to meditate. It is because the mind is not fully free from the influence of the tanmatra. And this science of freeing the mind from the influence of tanmatra lies only in Pratyahara Yoga. So for this, in Anandamar cult of Yoga Sadhana, there is a special lesson, 5th lesson, in which it is taught how this can be achieved. In this, on all the chakras, there is the ascription, there is the ideation of spiritual vibration. spiritual mantra, the sound vibration, and this makes every chakra, blossom with full beauty. And a sadhaka who practices this fifth lesson and always, tries to think of the universe as the expression of cosmic consciousness, and at the same time offering this experience at the altar of the Supreme Consciousness makes the Pratyahara yoga complete. And this, with a few stories, I would like to conclude my lecture on Pratyahara yoga. That one sadhaka, he was sitting and meditating, and he felt that the snakes are coming to him from all around. The very threatening sound is coming from all around, and he got fearful, and he got up and he left the place of sadhana. So when he met Sri Murtiji, he scolded him, "Why did you leave? You should not leave. You should have stood strong, sitting there and experiencing whatever is coming to your knowledge at that time." You were experiencing that the serpents are coming, the threatening sounds are coming, very ferocious sounds are coming. You should not leave the sadhana. You must have firmly sitting down, did your sadhana as usual, and everything would have disappeared. But he could not do it, and the result was that his concentration was gradually, becoming weaker and weaker, and he was not getting interest in sadhana. And so he has to take shelter under the grace of the Guru. He came to Baba, Sri Murtiji, and he prayed that he should help him. He made a mistake by leaving sadhana midway and getting afraid of the sounds and the wild animals which he was experiencing at that time. And he cried a lot, and finally Baba blessed him. Okay, now you do sadhana and you will not have any such problem. So this, in sadhana, when our mind gets nervous or it is not concentrated, it becomes restless, it is not the time that we should give it up. We should think that, well, mind is not being fixed and it is waste of time doing sadhana, let me do something else. It means at that time, avidya maya is getting stronger and it wins our mental power, our willpower, and so our mind becomes still weaker. Therefore, when we find that the different objects occupy our mind, different sounds, different taste, different touch, different types of taste, when they are hovering in the mind and they are trying to disturb our mental balance, then we should sit with greater intensity. We should sit with greater firmness, thinking, come what may, but I will not leave my seat of sadhana till I have completed my lessons with complete satisfaction. And then, gradually this influence of avidya maya this torturous experience of the evil forces, it will disappear. So there are numerous instances in the life of sadhakas when they have come across such type of experience. Once I was going in a forest to do my night sadhana, the Amavasya sadhana, in the dead of night. It was around 15 minutes past 12, and then I felt if a serpent comes and bites me, I will die, or if a tiger attacks me, then also I will die. So this type of thought started creating fear in my mind. But it was the grace of my Supreme Guru that he also inspired me from within. And another thought emerged in my mind that I have done no harm to any snake, and I have done no harm to any tiger or any wild animal. Why they will harm me? This was one of the thoughts which immediately emerged in my mind. I have done no harm. Why will they harm me? And the second thought which emerged in my mind was that I am going to do my night sadhana, my Amavasya sadhana, and it is worship of the Supreme, and that Supreme is always in my company. I am never away from him. He knows what is my situation now. Then, if his will is that I should die by the bite of a snake or by the attack of a tiger, if it is his will, why I should fight with his will? Let his will be done. Let it be materialized. Because I can never win the power of the will of the Supreme. So that Supreme entity, he is my constant companion. He never leaves me for a moment. And if he wants that my fate is to die just now, I surrender it to his will. I resign myself to his will. So when these two thoughts occur, I have done no harm to these animals, why they will harm me? And also that if it is his will that I have to face my death in this forest, why should I disagree with him? Let me resign to his will. And then with the emergence of these thoughts, these noble thoughts, these invigorating, spiritual, inspiring thoughts, my mind became strong, and I went to my place of sadhana. I did sadhana, and I left that place around 2 a.m. in the dead of night. So this, Brahmacharya Vigyan only helps in channelization of the mind towards the Brahma. And Pratyahara Yoga, not only channelization is also a part of Pratyahara Yoga, but it is half Pratyahara Yoga. The Pratyahara Yoga brings transformation in the external object itself. That object itself becomes a divine existence. It does not remain a material existence or a psychic existence. Psychic pabulum becomes thoroughly spiritualized, and every pore of every particle, every cell of the Atimanus course becomes consciousness, and it takes us to the divine kingdom of the Lord. Mind becomes full of bliss and full of peace. And since Karmashya, the warehouse of our past karmas is in Atimanas Kosha, therefore a person whose Pratyahara Yoga is good, it is nice, brilliant, then that person, whether it is happiness or sorrow, maintains equanimity of mind. It is not disturbed. The happiness does not make him excited, and unhappiness does not make him just steep low in sorrow. In both these conditions of mind, he feels himself vibrant, he feels himself energized. So that's why, all this game of spirituality is in surrender. Surrender means transformation of our mind into spirit, transformation of the psychic entity into a spiritual energy. So this transformation is actually the summum bonum of our spiritual sadhana, and this sadhana actually is the most important instinct of human existence. It is a special instinct besides the basic instinct of these four. This dharma is a special instinct, and dharma sadhana is the expression of that instinct, the expression of this special quality. So let us move on the path of Bhagavad Dharma. Let it start from as early as possible in our life, and the family men should teach their children from the age of 5 years or 4 years about doing and sitting in sadhana both the times, so that these sanskaras of leading a spiritual life is generated in them from the very beginning. They do not remain just like any other creature, any other animal, any other form of existence. They become really a glorious human life. So for sadhana, one must not think that this life is first to enjoy the material things, and later when we become old, when we have no capacity to do worldly work, then we will do spiritual practice. So this type of feeling has to be abundant, and the real purpose of life has to be experienced. It is in the experience of God, it is in the experience of the Supreme Entity, because it never disturbs the equanimity of mind, our tranquility of mind, and every other object in the world is full of both these things. It gives happiness as well as unhappiness, but the spirituality always gives us happiness. So it is called Anandam. There is no klishta vritti, there is no vritti of pain or unhappiness in it, and so that it is a perennial flow. This flow never stops. So that's why my advice is that we should become a real spiritual aspirant. Our object, our purpose, our aim of doing spiritual practice should be to get direct experience of the Supreme Entity. Not that we have heard or we have read somewhere and that's why we should believe, but we should personally experience it, and then we should realize the value of our supremely blessed human life. Namaskar.